Hello everyone, welcome back. In this video, I would like to talk about the organization systems, what I currently use in 2021 to stay organized, what works and what doesn't. If you want to know how to get more organized or what to look out for, please keep on watching. I would like to start with a number of disclaimers. First of all, organization system is a constant work in progress. I always try to find ways to improve it. Life goes on, certain things used to work and no longer do, and that's okay. The second thing, whatever I'm going to be talking about is what works for me, and you can try it for yourself and then adapt to your own life. And the third thing, I'm not a crazy busy person who gets like 300 emails and calls every day, so this is something that I don't need to take care of. However, I would still like to have it all, to have my work life, my personal life, and my hobbies happening all together. All right, let's start with figuring out what organization system actually consists of. First part is input. Input is everything that you use to get information in. So your post-it notes, Google Drive documents, Excel sheets, what have you. The second thing is structure. By structure, I mean hierarchy and anything else that you need to make sense of information. So those could be folders, categories, labels, tags, and so on. A third one is retrieval. It's anything that helps you to find information fast. That could be good search function, labels, color coding, and so on. And the last one is planning and prioritization. It's everything you need to know what is the most important and what you need to do next. That could be, again, color coding. It could be an order in the list items. That could also be timelines and deadlines that you need. As for me, structure is the most important part of the organization system. It's that core part that helps you find things, be on top of them, and make sense of them, essentially. And that's also one of the most difficult things to get right. In this video, I will focus largely on structure, a little bit on input, and on planning. My own setup consists of 4 apps across devices. All right, let's start with input. I write a lot by hand. Writing helps me think and organize my thoughts. I used to do it the regular way, with a pencil or a pen and a notebook. And several months ago, I switched to iPad and Apple Pencil, so now I take all the notes on my iPad. I use an app called Notability and an add-on for handwriting recognition. It works well for me because my handwriting is pretty neat. Having an Apple ecosystem also helps enormously because I can write something in my Notability app, then convert it to text, copy it, and paste it on the note in my computer, just like that. You can even search for handwritten notes in Notability, and this is extremely handy. The only downside of this whole iPad setup is I cannot really use it outside in the sunny weather because I just don't see anything. Obviously, for input, I also type notes and I save images and links and documents, and I do it via the app called Notion. Let's move on to structure. I structure and organize everything in the app called Notion. I use folders or whatever looks like folders for that. You can create a lot of things using Notion, and I will get to that in a second. So for me, I really keep everything in there. All sorts of lists, from recipes to packing lists when I go somewhere, some wish lists of things that I would like to have, some ideas, projects that I want to do, the courses that I would like to take. So everything is in there. I use Notion as a second brain, and I constantly look for ways to improving it. So if you use Notion as well and you have some tips, please leave them down in the comments. I would be very curious to read them. The greatest thing about Notion is its flexibility. You can organize your content into so-called databases. A database is a table that consists of notes and related properties. If you organize your study, you can create a number of assignments for a certain subject. You can put some deadlines, you can put some statuses, comments, grades, some people with whom you're working on it, any kind of properties that can relate to an assignment. On top of that, you can look at these things in different ways. So in this example, you could see my summer projects that are displayed as a table. You can switch to the board view and look at them based on a certain property, and in my case, this is priority. Or you can look at it as a timeline if you would like to have an overview of how your project overlap with each other. You can also create links for the database without copying it, which means that you can make changes only in one place, and wherever your database is linked, these changes would be reflected as well. And in this example, you can see that on top of everything, I also made a really cool pseudo visualization of my progress. A bit of a side note, this year I tried a 12-week planning. I realized that planning for the whole year didn't really work for me, so I wanted to try something else. And it turns out that 12-week planning didn't work either. I don't know, maybe I wasn't diligent enough, maybe it really likes overview, maybe I just cannot visualize it properly, maybe something else. I really don't know. But I'm not giving up. I am looking for other ways to organize myself, other ways to set the goals that work better. And as soon as I figure out, I'll make a new video about that. As for work, I use a pretty regular folder structure where each folder represents a project I'm working on. And there is a special separate node called Deeds, where I have the overview of everything I'm working on. As you can see here, on top of the page, I have 4 links to 4 notes that represent planning for the current year, some notes for the performance review, things that I need to time track, and some notes for the meetings. Then there is a survey to track the skills and behaviors that I want to improve. I got this tip from my mentor, hi Martina if you're watching this, to create a survey to keep track of the things that you're doing. And at the end of the period, you can get the summary of how you actually did. The bonus part here is you can also get pretty graphs illustrating your progress, because most of the survey apps can do that. Alright, next section is my weekly overview. So these are my weekly to-dos. I also put the number of the week and the amount of days off that I have that week. Each day has 2 mandatory things. One of them is called one thing. That is the most important thing that you do in the day to call it productive or to create some value. And the second thing is the survey. The rest varies every day. And the last section is inbox. Inbox is everything that comes my way. That's basically my input system. So I put all the questions, all the requests in there. And then over the time, I put those into my weekly planning. If I think that some item is important enough, I can put it as the one thing. It's important to mention that I use Notion to organize my thoughts, ideas, and work itself. And when it comes to planning meetings and appointments, I use Google Calendar. My calendar looks pretty empty, but I usually have my both private and work calendars on, so I could have an overview of my free time. One thing that I would like to try out with Google Calendar is calendar blocking. I did calendar blocking once for 1 full day, and I was insanely productive. However, I was also very, very tired after that day. So I think I would like to create a system for myself when it comes to calendar blocking and try it out. Perhaps I will create an experiment and then make a video about this. Alright, and the last thing that I use is Google Tasks for small tasks, errands, and reminders. It is very handy that you can add your tasks, and when you're done, you tap and it disappears. But unfortunately, I cannot connect them to my projects in Notion. I noticed that I use the Tasks app sporadically. Might be nice to experiment and try to find a system that also works for my personal projects. Perhaps it's better to set up a to-do system in Notion itself, something similar to my Deeds page for work, but for my personal projects, where I can also track the to-dos and the progress and so on. Alright, that was it for my organization system in 2021. While preparing this video, I realized actually how much more I can improve on that. Perhaps in 2022, I will film an update. How do you organize your life? Please share your tips and thoughts in the comments below. And as always, thank you so much for watching. If you like this video, please subscribe to my channel. It really helps me growing it. And like that, more people will see the video. Have a great day. Bye!